Good morning, everyone. Today is March 6th, 2026, and the world is holding its breath as we witness a historic shift in the Middle East. For decades, we've talked about red lines and containment, but this morning, those days are officially over. The United States and Israel have just moved into a decisive second phase of a campaign that is no longer just about defense. It's about dismantling the very foundations of the Iranian regime's terror infrastructure. As you are watching this, the legendary bunker busters, the massive 30,000-pound GBU-57 MOPS, are being prepped for what could be the final blow to Tehran's underground missile fortresses. It is a moment of extreme tension, one that reminds many of us of the darkest days of the 1979 crisis, yet with a strength and resolve we haven't seen in years. But as the smoke rises over the Iranian deserts, we must ask the questions that hit closest to home. Are our boys in the region safe? Will this decisive action finally bring the peace we've prayed for? Or are we on the doorstep of something much larger? And most importantly, how will this bold stance by the Trump administration in Israel redefine the world our grandchildren will inherit? Stay with us, because the details coming in from the Persian Gulf and the Situation Room are changing by the hour. Operation Fury is no longer a series of localized skirmishes. It has evolved into a full-scale dismantling of the Iranian threat. According to recent reports from Reuters, the joint forces of the United States and Israel have officially shifted their focus to the most challenging objective yet: the missile cities buried hundreds of feet beneath Iran's hardest limestone mountains. For those of you who have followed military history over the years, you know that Tehran has spent decades building an underground network they believed was impenetrable. They were wrong. The legendary GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, MOP, the crown jewel of American conventional firepower, is now being deployed.
Trong cả hai trường hợp này, hậu quả kinh tế toàn cầu là không thể tránh khỏi. Trung Đông vẫn là mắt xích quan trọng của chuỗi cung ứng năng lượng thế giới.
To drill through 200 feet of reinforced concrete before its electronic brain triggers a catastrophic explosion. This isn't just a weapon. It is a clear message to the regime that there is no hole deep enough to hide from American justice. While our B-2 Spirit stealth bombers prepare for these surgical strikes, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, have achieved something truly historic in the skies above. Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi confirmed that the Air Force has conducted over 2,500 sorties, dropping 6,000 munitions in the first week alone. The result? 80% of Iran's entire air defense network has been neutralized. The expensive S-300 and S-400 systems that Tehran boasted about are now nothing more than charred scrap metal. The Israel-Iran situation is reaching a point of no return. Israel pilots now command the Iranian skies with such total dominance that they are performing dual-strike missions, destroying missile sites in Iran and then swinging over to suppress Hezbollah positions in Lebanon.
Lập hội đồng điều hành đất nước, gồm Tổng thống Masoud Pezeshkian, người đứng đầu hệ thống tư pháp, và
Tel Aviv have been liquidated before they could even be fueled. However, our intelligence community warns us against complacency. Iran is believed to be holding back a portion of its arsenal, possibly thousands of low-flying cruise missiles, in preparation for a long-term war of attrition. This is a high-stakes game of survival, where the precision of American technology and the courage of the people of Israel are being tested like never before. We are witnessing the dismantling of an empire of terror, piece by piece. While the physical walls of the regime are crumbling under American and Israel pressure, its political structure is facing an even greater crisis: a total vacuum of leadership. The news coming out of Tehran is nothing short of seismic. Reports indicate that the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, has been killed in the initial waves of strikes. This marks the end of an era of radicalism that has plagued the Middle East since 1979. However, the question on every American's mind is, who comes next? The regime's attempt to consolidate power behind Mojtaba Khamenei, the supreme leader's son and a notorious hardliner with deep ties to the IRGC.
Mùa hè năm ngoái, năm 2025, cuộc chiến 12 ngày giữa Israel và Iran đã làm suy yếu đáng kể.
Has made it crystal clear that the United States will not sit idly by while another generation of tyrants takes the throne. In a recent interview, the president stated that he intends to be personally involved in the selection of Iran's next leadership. He compared the situation to our firm stance in Venezuela, emphasizing that harmony and peace are the only qualities we will accept in a new Iranian government. For our audience, this is a breath of fresh air, a return to a time when America didn't just respond to world events, but actively shape them for the sake of global stability. The Israel-Iran conflict has stripped away the mask of the Ayatollahs. For years, they claimed to be the protectors of the faith, but as their leadership flees and their sons hide in bunkers, the Iranian people are beginning to see the truth. The Iran-Israel war is proving that a regime built on the blood of its neighbors and the oppression of its own citizens cannot stand when faced with the combined resolve of the free
khu vực
world.
toàn diện
But
nếu
make no
Iran thành
mistake,
công phong
this
tỏa
is a
eo biển
delicate
Hormuz
moment.
hoặc một
As
bên
we
mắc tính
dismantle the old guard, we are also guarding against the chaos that often follows a vacuum. Our veterans know all too well the cost of nation building. That is why the current strategy isn't about occupation. It's about surgical removal and ensuring that the next person to sit in Tehran is someone who prefers trade over terror and diplomacy over death threats. The goal is a stable Middle East where Israel can exist in peace and where American interests are no longer under constant threat from a rogue nuclear state. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the leadership in Washington is currently playing for keeps. In Task 4, we examine the global domino effect. We focus on how the decisive actions in the Middle East are forcing America's greatest rivals, like China, to rethink their own aggression. This section highlights the importance of American strength as a deterrent to a potential World War III. Yoan Desti Task 4. Body Part 3, The Global Domino Effect. Length, approximately 415 words. The shockwaves from the Iran-Israel war are being felt far beyond the deserts of the Middle East. They are reverberating all the way to the South China Sea. For years, we have watched with concern as Beijing grew more assertive, threatening the democracy of Taiwan and testing American resolve. But something remarkable has happened in the last 5 days. According to intelligence from the Taiwanese Ministry of National Defense, Chinese military aircraft, which usually harass the island daily, have suddenly vanished from the skies. Why? Because Chairman Xi Jinping is realizing that his strategy of using
Ném
Iran
bom
as
có
a
thể phá
proxy
hủy
to
mục tiêu,
distract the
nhưng nó
United
không làm
States
biến
has
mất
failed.
mối đe dọa.
Beijing's
Chỉ
plan
khiến
was
mối đe dọa
simple.
đó
Keep America tied down in a Middle East quagmire so they could move
tá
on
bảo hiểm
Taiwan.
hàng hải tăng vọt
But as they
và thị
watch
trường tài
Israel
chính
and the
toàn cầu rung
U.S.
lắc mạnh.
systematically dismantle the Iranian regime's military in just 1 week, the message to China is unmistakable. American power is not spread thin. It is focused, lethal, and ready. This shift has placed Xi Jinping in an impossible position. Not only is his distraction strategy failing, but China is also losing its primary source of cheap, illicit oil. With 13% of their seaborne oil imports coming from Tehran, the Chinese economy is now facing a massive energy crunch as the conflict escalates. Meanwhile, our allies in Europe are finally stepping up. After an Iranian drone struck a British base in Cyprus, the first such attack since 1986, the Ham Joy fleet of Europe has been jolted into action. France, Italy, Greece, and even Spain have formed a massive naval task force to protect the Eastern Mediterranean and the Suez Canal. Even the British, despite recent political friction with Washington, have deployed 4 additional Typhoon fighters to the region, proving that when the chips are down, the West stands together. The Israel-Iran conflict is proving that peace is only possible through strength. By containing the fire in the Middle East, we are inadvertently preventing a larger blaze in the Pacific. It's a reminder to our rivals that the United States hasn't forgotten how to lead. We are protecting the global arteries of trade, ensuring that the world doesn't descend into the chaos of a third world
Kịch bản thứ
war.
3 và
While
nguy
the
hiểm nhất
military
là
campaign
xung đột
has been
leo
a
thang thành chiến
masterclass
tranh.
in precision, the economic fallout is hitting closer to home for every American family. As of today, March 6, 2026, the Iran-Israel war has moved from the land and air into a full-scale tanker war in the Persian Gulf. For our viewers who remember the oil shocks of the 1970s, the current situation feels like a haunting echo of the past. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, desperate and cornered, has turned its remaining weapons toward global energy arteries. Just yesterday, a missile strike reportedly set an American oil tanker ablaze in the northern Persian Gulf. This is a deliberate attempt to hold the world's economy hostage. Currently, the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow gateway through which 20% of the world's oil
Kính chào quý vị và các bạn
flows,
đang
is
theo dõi
effectively
kênh tin tức quốc tế.
paralyzed. Over 300 tankers are now sitting at anchor, unable or unwilling to move as war risk insurance evaporates
Chưa có hồi
and
kết
Iranian
với những
suicide
tác động đang
boats
lan
roam
rộng
the
từ eo biển
waters.
Hormuz
The
đến
result
thị
is
trường tài
immediate.
chính toàn cầu,
Brent
từ
crude
các bàn
has
đàm
surged
phán ở
past
Viên
$85
đến các kho
a
chứa
barrel,
hàng của doanh
and we
nghiệp
are
Việt
seeing
Nam.
gas prices across the United States spike by 20 to 50 cents in a single week. For those of us on fixed incomes or planning for retirement, this isn't just a headline.
Thiếu kinh nghiệm
It's an
chuyên sâu
inflation
về
tax
tình báo và
caused
Trung
by a
Đông.
rogue regime
Trong
in
khi
Tehran.
chính quyền Bush,
From
dù
Iraq
mắc
to
sai lầm,
Kuwait,
vẫn có những bộ
production
não
is being cut because there is simply nowhere for the oil to go. Even the global giants like BP have been forced to evacuate staff as the conflict spreads. But there is a silver lining. Unlike previous decades, the United States is now a dominant energy producer. President Trump and the current administration are working tirelessly to secure alternative routes and increase domestic output to shield us from this energy blackmail. The Israel-Iran conflict has proven once and for all that energy independence is not just an economic goal, it is a matter of national security. As we stand by Israel, we are also fighting to ensure that no foreign dictator can ever again dictate the price of a gallon of gas in America. As we look at the events of this historic week, it is clear that we are standing at a crossroads of human history. The Iran-Israel war is not just a conflict over borders or ancient grievances. It is a battle for the soul of the Middle East and the security of the free world. We are seeing the walls of a decades-long tyranny finally begin to crack. But as any veteran will tell you, the most dangerous moment is often just before the dawn. The next few days will be critical. Will the regime in Tehran choose total self-destruction? Or will the Iranian people finally seize this moment to reclaim their country? We must remain vigilant. The Israel-Iran situation remains a powder keg, and the threat of a wider escalation, one that could draw in other global powers, is still a reality we must face with clear eyes and steady hearts. We know that many of you watching are concerned about our grandchildren's future. You are asking, can we still avoid World War III? The answer lies in the strength we have shown this week.
Của
Peace
Iraq
is
năm
never won through
2003.
appeasement. It is
Theo
secured
phân tích
through the
đăng
kind of
trên
resolve we
Asia
are
tiếp tục
seeing
cập
from
nhật
our
những
leaders
tin tức
and
quan
our
trọng nhất.
allies in Israel.
Nếu thấy video có giá
Before we
trị,
go,
xin đừng
we
quên
want to hear
nhấn
from
thích,
you.
chia sẻ
This
và đặc
community
biệt
is built on the wisdom of those who have seen history unfold before. Comment pray for peace below if you believe that a stable, free Iran is the only way to end this cycle of violence. Subscribe to this channel if you believe that the truth matters more than the headlines, and you want to stay informed with the facts that the mainstream media often overlooks. Thank you for your time, your service to this country, and your continued prayers for our troops and our allies. We will continue to monitor the situation 24/7. God bless you, and God bless America.